Hello, friends and followers. Welcome back to TJ's Modeling Bench. If you're new here, please subscribe and hit the bell icon so you know when I post new stuff. And if you've been here for a while, thank you for coming back. I really do appreciate that. This is just a little midweek update. I won't be doing a What Did You Buy Wednesday this week. There's a few things coming up in the very near future that are kind of eating away at some of the bench time. Some of it involves the bench, but this Saturday coming up, the 11th of October, is the 24-hour cancer awareness group build hosted by Grandpa Mark, Grandpa Mark's Hobbies, on YouTube. Also sponsored by Jason at KRD, Klein Racing Designs, and Bruce at Bruce's Eclectic World. And there is a GoFundMe page set up, and you can find it easily at Grandpa Mark's YouTube channel. It'll probably be on Facebook and several places as well if you're members of any of those modeling groups on Facebook. And the neat thing is Grandpa Mark will be going live on YouTube, and several of us modelers who are involved in the group build can and will jump in from time to time live so you can see what we're doing, how we're getting along with our builds. So it's the first time I've ever done anything like that, a 24-hour build. So I'm really looking forward to it. It should be a fun 24 hours. I've already told my girlfriend, sorry, babe, this weekend I'm busy. I don't have anything. I don't have any time available Saturday or Saturday night into Sunday morning. Now, depending on how much sleep I can get, maybe Sunday afternoon, her and I will go have some fun on the coast somewhere. But anyway, that's beside the point. For the 24-hour group build, Mark has allowed us to prep our bodies and have those painted however we want prior to the build starting so that, we don't have to worry about paint curing and whatnot on our exteriors. So the only thing we'll have to worry about is all the interior stuff and the frame and that kind of thing, which, if you have a dehydrator, easy peasy, shouldn't be a problem at all. So I've been feverishly working on mine. It's actually in the dehydrator now. But the kit I'm building is the AMT 53 Ford pickup. I'll probably try to lower it a little. I've never lowered a vehicle, so look for that to maybe happen over the weekend. And as far as wheels, they are 90s era 15-inch Eagle alloy style wheels, style 1 from MCV Products. And you can see let me see if I can make that look clear enough in the photo or in the video. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's kind of like a, kind of like a 3-blade weed eater blade. I don't know how else to describe that. Anyway, it should look good on this truck. So we won't be using the kit wheels on it. What else have we got going on? So, yeah, that's this Saturday. So that, a lot of time spent at the bench this weekend. And then 2 weeks from this coming Saturday is the ACME show, the Atlanta Car Model Enthusiast Southern Nationals, up in Cartersville, Georgia. I went last year. It was my first time going, met a lot of great YouTubers and other content creators there, saw some really awesome work. If you're anywhere near there on the 25th of October, you need to come check it out, as well as the vendors. And I will be doing some serious shopping while I'm there this year because, the ACME show will really kind of wrap up my year as far as shows and contests. In fact, offhand, I'm not aware of anything relatively close to me after that date. And for me, relatively close is Cartersville, Georgia, and that's 5.5 hours. So, and the only things close to me that I even know about were the Blue Angels Model Fest back in August, And then in April, over in Covington, Louisiana, there's a contest, but it usually coincides with the Phantom Flashers up in Anniston, Alabama. So Pensacola is the closest, an hour and a half from where I live. Everything else is 3 hours or more. So I usually have to take a day off from work, get a hotel room at least for one night, usually two. In fact, this year for ACME, I'm going up on Thursday, so I'm actually spending 3 nights there this year. It's getting that big and that popular. There's so many modelers and models, and like I said, the vendors are, because it's so popular, I think more vendors are even showing up to that every year. So it's a great place to get some wanted or needed items if you haven't been able to find them elsewhere. So that said, so that'll kind of wrap up the show contest season for me. And I don't know how many of you are IPMS members, International Plastic Modelers Society. I have been now for a couple years. I was actually once back in 2005. Hurricane Katrina kind of messed all that up for me until recently. So, but anyway, so next year's nationals are in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Now, I live currently in Mobile, Alabama, and I've been on the Gulf Coast, whether it was Mississippi or Alabama, since 1998 when I was medically discharged from the service. But my original hometown is New Haven, Indiana, which is actually really a suburb of Fort Wayne. So, yeah, the Nationals are going to be in my hometown, my original hometown, and I plan to go. I've never been to a Nationals. I was going to go to 2005. I think it was in Atlanta that year, which, you know, like I said, that's not too far from me. But because of Hurricane Katrina and other lack of funding for me at the time, that didn't happen. So I'm really looking forward to going next year. And because of that, I also want to have a few models specifically built for that show contest. And give me a minute and I'll pull down some of the models that are up in my stash that are going to go to that next year. At least that's the plan. So hang on. All right, so a little bit of insight about Fort Wayne and why these models that I've pulled down off the shelf are going to play a big part in me going to Nationals next year. So there used to be an International Harvester plant in Fort Wayne. My dad worked there. Unfortunately, he was laid off in 1979, 1980-ish. My best friend's dad was also laid off, but then ended up getting recalled some years later. But as part of that recall, they moved to Springfield, Ohio. So I never really saw him much again. But because of that, I've been wanting to build this cab over for a long time. I've had it in my stash since about the time this channel began, a little over a year and a half, almost 2 years ago. So this is going to get built, and it will be going to the IPMS Nationals in Fort Wayne next year. And I've got some custom decal ideas in mind that I will probably send to STS and have them print those for me specifically. And then I also have a trailer that will get built and go with this as well. So that's one. All right, the next thing, and this also relates to International Harvester. At that plant in Fort Wayne, they also built the Scout. And my dad had a 1976 Scout 2. His was a soft top. All right, so this kit is hard top, obviously. And I don't think, it doesn't show any provision for doing a soft top. I might look into that and see if I can make that happen. Maybe design something. If not, we'll just build it stock, but I will be painting it like the one that Dad had. And his was white with a red and blue trim stripe on it. The soft top was a dark blue, and I believe the roll bars in it were also a dark blue. I think most of the interior, I think, was a dark blue. So I'll probably be able to find some internet images of that specific model to replicate this. So that'll also be going. And then the next two really, my dad always had vans, and they were always, well, except for one, they were always Ford vans. Just the Econoline 150 van, just like the Coca-Cola van. So I don't know that he necessarily had a 77. He may have, I just don't recall. And Dad's at the age now where he can't even remember which ones he had. But I do remember one of the first ones, and it may have been a late 70s model. It was green, happens to be my favorite color. It was a metallic dark green, but it had a lot of rust. And it was a cargo van. It wasn't, it wasn't a family conversion van, nothing nice like that. It had two wooden benches over each rear wheel hump in the back. Other than that, it was just an empty back end. And then 1 year before I started learning to drive, the fuel manifold busted and it burned to the ground in the street right in front of the house. So, but it wasn't long before Dad got another Ford van. And again, even though I'm the oldest of four kids, I have two brothers and a baby sister, he still ended up buying essentially a cargo van, a white Ford cargo van that had one bench in the back. When it was up, you could probably put two full kegs behind it, behind the seat back and the doors. That's how much space there was. But if you laid it flat, then three of the four kids could probably comfortably lay on that bench. And I did drive that particular van when I got my driver's license. He still had that one, so I did get to drive it. And to this day, I still drive a van. I have a Dodge Caravan minivan of my own. And for work, I drive some of the bigger Ford vans. We've had some Nissans as well. But anyway, so this one is going to get done like Dad's green van. So expect some rust and wear and whatnot. And then I have another kit. This one's the Chevy, the Foxy Box. And I've got an idea, and I really think I'm going to go with this idea. I was only going to build one van to take, but if I've got the time and can do it, I'm going to build both of them. And I am a Notre Dame Fighting Irish football fan. And this being, kind of your conversion van from the 80s, I think I will turn this into a diorama and maybe do a whole tailgating scene. So that'll be on the list for this coming year. All right. And then lastly, for now, at least, let me grab this one. It's on the floor. Hang on. All right. I have had this kit since July of 2005. This is an airplane. It's there are some newer versions of this by other manufacturers that are probably better now. At the time that I bought this was really the best version of this on the market at the time, and that is the Hasegawa F4E Phantom. And the reason I'm building this is because the Air National Guard unit in Fort Wayne, Indiana, used to fly the F4 Phantoms when I was a kid. It was sometime in the late 80s, right before I graduated high school, that they switched over to the F-16. And since then, they've also been in A-10s. They might be back in the F-16s now. I'm not really sure. But along with this, now remember, this is 2005, so 3D printing wasn't really in vogue yet. I don't even know if it even existed, honestly. If it did, it was in its very infancy. But there's always been resin aftermarket. So for it, I've got Martin Baker ejection seats. I've got the proper tires and wheels for the Air Force version. And then I hope these decals are still good. This whole box has been on a shelf in a few different homesteads in 20 years. I think for the most part, they've been climate controlled. I'm just hoping these are still good. But this is the Fort Wayne Air National Guard unit from back in the day. And this is 1979 Fort Wayne Fabulous Phantoms 1992. So 79 to 92. I guess they retired them in 92, but I'm pretty sure they were flying the F-16s before I graduated and went off to basic training in 1989. I'm almost positive that's true. But anyway, so it's the last of the Air National Guard Phantom gunfighters. So this will get done up as that. I really, really, really hope they're still good. And if they're not, then I really, really hope I can find replacements. What else have we got? So Big Edward, right? If you're familiar with any of their products, I've got a whole sleeve full of detail parts. Interior cockpit and exterior landing gear placards. What have we got here? Maybe this is a canopy mask. Gosh. Yeah, it's canopy mask and wheel and tire masks. Some remove before flight streamers. Photo etch for the ejection seats. And color photo etch for the instrument panels. As well as, looks like there's more cockpit photo etch in this kit. We have the turkey feathers and the flame holder for the exhaust in the engines. And then these are part of the, these are your fences and inlet intake gates for both of the inlets. And then I'm pretty sure, I thought I did, maybe I don't. Well, I guess maybe I don't. I thought I also had nozzles, jet exhaust nozzles. So I guess I don't have those, but I'll probably look into getting some since I don't have those. I thought I did, but I guess I don't. Anyway, and then we've got a couple of the books, the F4 Phantom 2 in action from Squadron. And then I recently, in just recent years, picked up the F4 Phantom 2 from Detail and Scale. So this one should turn out pretty good. And the reason I've had it 20 years. So when I bought this, all of this, I had just gotten back into plastic modeling, right? I mean, I hadn't really done a plastic model build since 1988. I think I was a junior, maybe the tail end of my sophomore year of high school even. And it was one car, and before that it had been probably another half a dozen years prior to that before I had done any plastic modeling. But I knew I wanted to build this when I actually saw that decal set before I bought everything else. And when I saw that, I thought, oh yes, I've got to build that, right? I grew up there, it's part of my history. But I knew my skills were not up to the task. And I'm not positive that they really are now, but because Nationals is going to happen in Fort Wayne, this is going to get built. Fingers crossed, my skills are up to the challenge. We'll see. But anyway, so that's what you can look forward to from my channel in the coming months leading up to Nationals in August of 2026. Now, there may be something else interspersed here and there. In fact, let's not forget, I am part of the USAC group build. So we've got our 69 Camaro. That's going to get worked on probably as soon as I come back from ACME. I'll start working on that and the dragster. I really wanted to have that dragster built for ACME because that's one of their themes this year. But like I said, I'm not going to rush it. I'm not going to take a subpar model to that show. So yeah, we've got the Camaro, the dragster, and I'm also part of the short track, Saturday night short track group build, which runs till July 31st of next year. And so I've got plenty of time for that one. And I've showed you guys that one in a past video. So all that between now and the first full week in August of 2026. So what's that give me? 9 months? Yeah, we can do it, right? Anywho, thanks for tuning in. And like I said earlier, if you haven't yet subscribed, please do. And hit that notification bell so that you know when I post something new. And till we meet again, peace and love.